Well, it's Friday, so here we are.
Yeah,
Uh, hmm,
missing
Unplugged.
somebody. Yeah,
Yeah, we're unplugged instead of plugged back in.
yeah.
Um, hmm, hmm, hmm. How are you, Ray?
I am well, and I adjusted my headline under my name because I thought Justin was going to be here, and like really, what the hell do you kids need me for on a Friday? But apparently, you do because Justin's not here.
Yeah. He may be having technical issues. I'm not sure he's not on Slack either. So I'm glad you're here because
Yes.
having these wonderful people watch me talk to myself would be awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps, yeah.
So
Yeah. It's not what people want just to hear
no,
you.
no. I wish I
Maybe
was
they do.
more prepared. But I will say this on the
Yeah,
subject that people may or may not have clicked on here for.
yeah.
Um, Tesla hit a milestone last week with their 45,000th charging station installed
Really?
worldwide. Yeah, 45,000 worldwide now. So
Wow.
that
Now,
is enormous.
now, I need a clarification when you say that. Is that 45,000 separate locations or is
No,
that 45,000 chargers?
charger stations, not charger locations. Yeah,
Okay.
not 45,000. Like that would be
That
even
would
more
be like a
insane. I mean,
lot.
we'll get there someday,
Yeah, yeah.
but 45,000 stations. So it's it's a huge milestone for them. Um, they're also their mega factories are going off the charts. They're going to build a new one in Shanghai. So that's the energy side of their business, which went up 152% in the first quarter. So that's their stationary energy side, where they give the mega packs and to power plants and commercial operators and stuff. For
Wow.
those who don't know,
You're talking to one.
yeah,
You
I figured you may not be up on that. I mean, I know you don't follow Ray, or you don't you don't follow Ray. You do follow Ray. You don't follow
Often.
Tesla like
Yeah. When I think Tesla, I just think of the automobile, but they
yeah.
are so much more than that. I mean,
They're barely an automobile company. I always say all the time I used to say they're a data company, but let's be realistic. They're an AI company, is what they are. Their software drives a lot of their company. Their robot that they're working on, the Android, uh, their mega packs, they just increased efficiency on those by Mark K. If you're here, I know you're here. If you know, keep me honest here, but I think they increased it by like 70% efficiency on their mega packs through their
what what
just through software.
what is a mega pack?
So that is the giant stationary battery storage uh, that they sell to power plants and things all over the country. Also, some businesses, I know Pepsi has some, but it's mainly for power plants. So stationary storage of electricity. So if you like here in California, where we do so many renewables, well, obviously you're not getting a lot of solar at night. So when you get it in the day and you're getting so much more than you use, what are you going to do with
Uh-huh.
it? Well, you store it so you don't have these peak and valleys issues.
So do they make like mega packs for people's homes for people who happen to have solar panels on their
Well,
homes?
yeah, they're not the mega packs, so they're not holding that much energy, but they do
Okay.
have that is big. That is a portion of their revenue too, and they are actually just getting ready to update the home storage solutions. Yeah, there are lots of people have batteries in their homes for that, and then you can set up your Tesla to only charge through that during the peak periods when you're getting solar. That was a new update in the Tesla app, so you can set it to only use solar charging with your battery pack.
Wow. What,
So
what
they're and that is what that's what Tesla does. They're a software AI company who happens right now to build cars, but as we've seen, they're also starting to build batteries. They build these mega packs. They're starting to build the LFP batteries in Austin now. They're starting to refine their own minerals. So eventually, it is definitely going to be, and Elon has said this many times, yeah, we also make cars, whatever.
Now, they have the expectation of selling 2 million cars. Is it this year or next year globally? Must be
Next year. And then add to that, the Model 2, which probably won't be its official name, but that they're going to build in Mexico. They're building that plant to make 2 million a year.
Really? And
So
I'm
I mean,
assuming the
that's
Model
very
2,
ambitious, but
yeah, but I'm assuming the Model 2 is smaller than the Model 3.
and so the way they're describing it now, insiders, but not officially Tesla, are calling it a compact Model Y. So based on the Model Y design, smaller, $25,000 is going to be the target there, which a year ago we'd say, oh, there's Tesla again. But you look at how they keep dropping their prices. They dropped across Europe almost 10% yesterday on their 3 and Y prices. So now you kind of look and go, well, they might be able to hit $25,000 out of that plant. And a lot of what Toyota announced in their manufacturing sort of mimics what Tesla has said out of the Mexico factory.
When do they expect to actually offer the Model 2? I mean, obviously it takes a while to build a manufacturing facility.
Yeah. Well, so they're going to, Mexico themselves and Tesla have said they're breaking ground on the facility this year.
Yeah.
They expect it to start producing vehicles next year, which seems really, really fast to me. I would say, I mean, clearly you have to be talking Q4, but I always go Elon time, so let's probably bump it another year or so.
Yeah, I mean because these facilities are rather large, I do believe.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about the Giga Mexico is it's very close to the Texas border. So close enough to Austin and things of where they'll be having their minerals and their batteries made that they can just rail them back and forth. But two, it is the site of what was going to be a Six Flags. So think of a Six Flags amusement park.
Okay.
And that kept falling apart and the deals kept falling through. But yeah, so the factory is as large as a theme park.
And in essence, the factory is its own theme park.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Wow. I had no idea. You'll have to keep me on top of all this stuff. Now, I know that today's title of our show, without Justin, was which non-Tesla charging network is the best? Can you name the major players, because I couldn't, the major players in charging networks? Obviously I know the biggest one would be Tesla.
Yeah.
And the only other one that I think EVgo, is that one?
EVgo is one. Yeah. You know another one. I know you know the big one.
The big one?
Yeah, there's one bigger than the EVgo. And Justin mentions them all the time.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mean I pay attention. Doesn't mean my memory is as good as it used to be. Would that be Charge America?
Electrify America. Yeah.
Electrify. I knew it was something America.
Yep.
Yeah.
Electrify America.
It wasn't Captain America. So Electrify America, EVgo,
and the
Tesla.
Next big one is ChargePoint. Yeah.
ChargePoint.
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
They're they're the next big one, but you probably have no idea who they are.
Yeah, they're the next big one. They've got 3 stations across the United States.
Yeah, they're pretty. I mean, let's be honest. Like Tesla is more than all of them combined. So that just how big that lead is. But Electrify America is is really the next really big one. They're the ones that we think, based on the news, that Walmart will be partnering with as they install millions across the world.
Who is 7-Eleven partnering with?
My guess would be EVgo, but I don't know that I read who they were. They just said they were doing it. I think, like Walmart, I don't think they have announced who their partner would be. See,
Who's charge point?
I'm
I
saying
see.
EVgo, but something in the back of my head keeps saying ChargePoint, and I don't
Okay.
know if I've just seen them at a 7-Eleven before or if I read that somewhere.
Okay. Or you're just making it up.
I could be. My
Yeah.
brain lies to me all the time.
Okay. So charge point is another.
Yeah, ChargePoint they're smaller, but like no matter where you go, you can probably find a ChargePoint somewhere. So they're smaller, but they're out there a lot.
So since I know nothing about this, these charging companies, they buy ground somewhere off a highway somewhere, and then they flatten it, do whatever they need to do, pave it, but put in all the necessary electrical connections for their charging stations. Do they own the ground? I mean,
Typically, they lease it from the
okay,
owner of wherever and that includes Tesla. There was some kerfuffle last year about, or year before, about Tesla not paying some of their leases. So some owners were just blocking the charging stations, saying, "Look, Tesla has not paid us,
yeah,
so we're not allowing access to it because we're not getting our money. So why would
okay,
we allow that?" That got all resolved relatively quickly, from what I understand, and sort of the video that went viral, that owners, like, now they have more charging stations than they had before. But it's often leased land, so that's why you see
okay,
some of them in gas stations and stuff, because they'll pay the owner to lease that land, and then the owner gets, whatever. I mean, it's good for them too, because you're going to sit there for 15 minutes. You're probably going to go inside and buy something.
sure. In a previous life, um, I used to fill vending machines, and we would have vending machines in different locations, and what we would do is we would share 30% or 40% of what each machine took in with the store holder or the restaurant holder or the bar holder, the diner, whoever it was. They would get a percentage of what the machines took in. So is that kind of sort of how some of this might work?
So I'm not sure on that side. I have to look into that, because I know, like, in the apartment complexes that I visited, they're just getting the lease and they're not getting any portion of the charging. So I don't know if there's some sort of revenue split involved in that, which would make sense. But also, it seems like it would either be a ground lease or a revenue split. Probably not both.
Hmm.
Would be my assumption, and I would think, if I was a business owner of something like a gas station, I personally would lean towards a lease right now, while EVs are so specialized
Hmm.
still. Like, it seems to make more sense just to get your flat fee every month that you can count on, rather than knowing whether people are going to come to you to charge their EVs. Because again, most people charge at home. So, like, what's your business going to be?
Yeah, how much revenue can the business produce?
Yeah.
So say a company like ChargePoint or Electrify America, wherever they might have their locations, how many typically how many chargers are at any given location? I'm assuming it's more than one.
Yeah, I mean, so that varies wildly. I've seen what is the one like Blink? I've seen that's another charging point, but usually when I see those, there's like two of them, and
Hmm.
each one you can plug in like two cars. Um, so four max
Okay.
on those, and that's kind of what they have at the movie theaters around me. And then charge points, I usually see three or four, but then you get into Tesla, and it's like I think the smallest amount I've ever seen is 10.
Okay.
So it depends on the network and what you're doing. Tesla makes more sense as it's a destination charger. So like you're going to a Tesla charger to go to a Tesla charger. A lot of these others are opportunity chargers. So they're in the Target or the Walmart or the movie theater.
Hmm.
And oh, hey, look, there's a charging station I'm going to plug in while I'm here, which is fantastic. I like that idea much better than the destination ones, but um, it makes sense to me that Tesla has more because you're specifically going for that.
So to relate this to the car business, are these charging stations sort of like dealership F&I departments, in the sense that it's almost like indirect lending? They contract with the electric company to be able to buy the electricity at a certain amount, and then they mark it up to the ultimate consumer.
So I think that's the way it works in a lot of cases, but not all cases. A lot of Tesla has solar and battery packs at their
Uh-huh.
stations, depending where they are in the country. I'm sure that's not true in the Northeast,
Yeah, I
but
would think not.
definitely
Yeah.
out here and in Vegas and stuff, they're just covered in solar everywhere, and they got the battery packs and everything like that. But I think primarily I think they all have battery packs inside. Um, so they're probably storing the electricity when it's cheapest and then doling it out through the rest of the time. And I'm sure there is a partnership in there with the utility companies for a certain amount, and then whatever the markup is, I don't know what they're getting it for because like I go to Tesla, 18 cents a kilowatt hour, and that's almost what I pay at home.
But you would think that there has to be some margin in
Yeah,
it.
I mean, there has to be some margin. I mean,
Yeah. Um,
especially for non-Tesla, like Tesla, you can say, hey, maybe they're not doing a lot of margin because they get it off of their vehicles and other things, and their cap and trade credits and all that. But for the charge points and EV goes and Electrify America is when that's all they're doing. There has to be a markup there. Yeah.
well, and isn't it expensive to actually install the charger? I mean, obviously, there's got to be some expense involved with that, and I'm sure there's accountants and actuarials who have said, okay, you're going to invest $150,000 per charger, which means we need to make X amount of money per charge in order for us to get a return on our investment. Or is the government in some way um, underwriting
Yeah.
some of the expense for these charging companies?
So first, it depends on the type. Like we say here, LiveWire is free charging at some of their stalls. Those tend to be level two charging. So installing a level two charger is not all that expensive. You're not putting in all the supercharging capabilities,
Okay.
but you're not charging very fast either. Uh, but I mean, it's fine. It's great for overnight charging stuff like that. So apartment complexes and stuff doing the level two, uh, that's not all that expensive. Like I think my landlord, it was $1,700, and the utility company paid for that.
Okay.
So level two is it's not the slow trickle that would be plugging into your house, but it's the overnight one. You're not going to be doing a lot. The 150,000, chargers. Those are the fast chargers.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, there's got to be a lot more in there. But of course, um, yeah, the government is subsidizing a lot of that right now. The Inflation Reduction Act definitely sped that up. They're giving lots and lots of money out to get that network out there, get the chargers built, so you won't have to worry about the upfront cost as much. Obviously, you have to front the cost, and the government pays you back.
Hmm.
As notorious as they are for paying their bills. So you recoup some of that, and then this is definitely a long term, like a gas station. It's a long term investment. You're not getting your money back in the first 5 years. That's
Hmm.
just not going to happen. Um, but I mean, I think that's the case in most large businesses.
Okay. Look how much I'm learning today.
And then Ford is saying that they have said several times they're going to build their own charging network. That sort of comes and goes out of their mouth. GM is definitely saying they're building their network, but they're partnering to do it. So it takes 2 years for Tesla to recoup. But again, Tesla is captive. You don't go to an Electrify America if you have a Tesla, as long as there's a Tesla charger nearby. So Tesla recoups quicker because all their vehicles go over there.
Well, here's a question. We know that the Ford Electric division is forcing the dealers that have signed up to use it, to be part of it, to install chargers. And we've heard that the expense is anywhere from $500,000 to $1.2 million. And that these chargers have to be made available to the general public, not just Ford customers. How, I mean, with an expense of call it $1 million, I mean, how many people have to come in and charge their car for the dealer to eventually make that $1 million back?
Well, I don't think, as far as that goes, I don't think Ford is thinking that they're going to make the money back there. It's that they're going to be selling electric vehicles, and that's where the dealer is going to be making.
But we keep hearing there's no margin in the electric vehicles from Ford.
Yeah, I mean, so like I have my own thoughts about that. 100-year-old company that can't catch up with a 20-year-old company, you got to figure you're doing something wrong. Um, but yeah, I mean, I from Ford Motor Company's point of view,
Yes.
I think they're thinking, well, you'll get all the allocation of the electric vehicles and you can sell those and you can do all your little markups because we're going to send memos but never enforce them. So don't worry, you can put all your junk onto it.
But if you're Ford E, part of the agreement is that that it's a no haggle pricing and that they're not allowed to mark them up. And that's specified in the agreement. So maybe they can add
they're not going to mark it up. They're just going to, got to buy a warranty. You got to have.
But wouldn't you think as a dealer principal, even though Ford is thinking, well, yeah, you're going to make this investment in chargers and stuff, but think you're going to make your money because you're selling Ford electric vehicles. And if you're a dealer principal and you're investing $1 million in chargers, wouldn't the dealer principal be looking at that and going, well, how long is it going to take me to make that $1 million back from people charging their cars here? So
I think that's why we see them dropping out, right?
What was that?
That's why we see them dropping out, right? Even the ones that did sign up are sort of backing out of the deal, going, I don't know that I. And I go, look, $1 million is always a lot of money. I always say, how much is it to a large franchise dealer? It's not that much, but it's still $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? So, their whole dealership costs a lot more than that to build.
Yes.
But we're not talking about a whole dealership. We're talking about one section of it. And I don't know, but also other people coming in and charging their cars. Who the hell is going to do that? Right? You're low on battery. You want to go to the dealer. Let's just drive over to the dealer and I'll just park in their lot. No pressure there, right? Like, come on. Like, nobody's gonna do that. I mean, we do that
Um,
at Tesla. I will say we do that at Tesla, but no salesperson ever comes at you at Tesla. They sit inside. You can barely get their attention.
well, you know, if I was a dealer principal, and yeah, $1 million is $1 million, and yes, I agree, $1 million doesn't buy what it used to buy even like 3 years ago. I get that, but it's still a major expenditure. Uh, I don't see how any of that pencils if you want to be a 4 to E dealer. If the margins are very thin, the expenditure of adding chargers, um, I just it's still I'm still baffled by it. I mean, there must be something I'm missing. There must be something that they're not sharing with the general public about this, that they've only shared with the dealers in private and had them sign some type of non-disclosure agreements, as to how the dealers are going to make money at this.
Yeah, Jerry says BMW participated in the cost of installing when he did it, and I kind of think of that with Ford too. Like, okay, what shouldn't you be? I mean, I know Ford lost what $300 trillion or something.
Well, it
Like,
was
so
3 billion, but
yeah,
yeah.
I know, but
And believe
but
me, 3 billion doesn't buy what 3 billion used to buy.
no, it doesn't. But so I can see why they're saying, um, that they don't want to participate. But I still think, and I've thrown this out before, I'll throw it out there again, that I believe Ford when they say they want to do direct to consumer, and if they can't get dealers to participate, they'll go, well, we don't have a choice. We got to go direct to consumer. Our dealers won't front the costs to do this. I'm not saying they're going to win that case, but I do think that there is some of that running through the corporate heads over there at Ford.
I mean, for the and I preface this with something that I've said often. I'm not a bright guy. I admit that I am not a really bright guy. That I only have a cursory understanding of some things, but having at one point in my life opened up a retail golf store, I learned the value of cash flow and profit margins. And if you have neither, you don't have a successful business. I learned that the hard way. So I just don't understand when I look at what Ford has proposed for their electric business, that you're asking the dealers to make the type of investment that you're asking them to make. You're getting them to agree to not mark up the prices of the vehicles, that the margins on the vehicles are very, very limited. That I just, for the life of me, I cannot get my head around why anybody would agree to do that. And yet, what, 80% or 85% of Ford dealers allegedly have said, "Oh yeah, we want to figure out a way to not make money."
And that's the part where there's the disconnect is when it comes to the dealership, because Ford themselves, they go, oh, we lose money on every unit. But let's be honest, Tesla's main profit is from selling trade credits, cap and trade credits,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's their most number one revenue source, is selling those credits. Ford and everyone else wants in on that, so they can use those credits to offset or to sell. I mean, I don't know how much they can sell while they're still making ICE vehicles, but they can at least offset some of their tax liabilities there. Plus, you have all the government incentives that everyone has always taken. I know we get a lot of angry comments, and EV shouldn't be subsidized. Well, you would be surprised at how much subsidies have always gone to OEMs, and not including the gas and oil industry, which is just insane. But so from the OEM's point of view, they have a lot of different revenue sources to sort of cover some of this. The disconnect comes into when they go to the dealer who doesn't have all these other revenue sources, but still has to pay out the politicians the same through their union. So yeah, I agree. I don't know. As Ashley said here, Buick wants $400,000 to $500,000 to be an EV dealer. There's no agreement between GM and the dealers. Like,
there's gotta be.
I don't. Yeah, where is it that?
There's
Why do people want to do
something? Okay, I mean, just common sense says you're not getting dealers to put up this type of money when you look them in the eye and go, oh, and by the way, there'll be absolutely no return on your investment. Oh, and your service revenue is going to be going down because these vehicles won't require as much service. And so it's just, it doesn't pencil. We are not being told everything. Something has to be missing. I mean, why would you do it? The only reason these dealers invest the money they invest is because they expect a certain return on that investment. And I don't get what this is. And either I'm missing something, or so many of these dealers are just dumber than I ever thought they were. And I never thought of these people as being dumb.
No, you don't get a reputation for being greedy and screwing people by being dumb.
Yeah.
Like I know the bad dealers make the good ones look bad. We all understand that. We love dealers. I deal with dealers all the time. I have recommended lists of dealers who are good people. So I say that sort of tongue in cheek, but at the same time, yes, even the bad ones, you have to be pretty smart to stay in business and do that. So they're not stupid by any means. I am guessing, and this is just a guess, Jerry, Ashley here, try to back me up on this. My guess is that the OEMs are saying, look at this 2035 deadline. Okay, you guys got 12 years to hop on board, dealers, or you don't have any product to sell anyway. So deal with it. And I think that's kind of what the OEMs are saying. They're saying, look, we're going to stop making ICE vehicles for you to sell. So either you're going to become a used car lot, or you're going to get on board here, and that's that.
Okay, you can get on board and you won't have any way to make any money. Perfect. I'm in on that. Oh, and I have to pay you for that.
Yeah, no, pay to the privilege of that. There's definitely a disconnect between, I think, all the OEMs right now and reality of the dealer model. At least, like, there's just something in there's got to be changed somewhere. I don't know where. I agree with you that there's a disconnect. I don't know why you would. I mean, and the dealers, they're telling these dealers to put in these high capacity chargers, these fast chargers. They're not saying, hey, put a bunch of level 2. My old dealership where I bought my Tesla, they had like 4 chargers, but they're all level 2 and they're all in the delivery bay where you go, where the customers go pick up their car. So, if there's nobody picking up in that bay, they just plug in the EVs, but they're level 2 chargers. It didn't cost them almost anything, if anything, to put them in. And that's that. Like, I understand that a lot more than I understand saying you have to have fast chargers here. You got to have, 350 kilowatt hour charger. Like, what are you talking about? Why would, because nobody's going to go there.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, now that I got us completely off track, so which non-Tesla charging network is the best, at least in your opinion, Justice?
I think we would, and I think Justin would agree that it's Electrify America with an asterisk.
Okay.
Which is to say, they're very large. They've got the 350 kilowatt hour chargers. They've got, you got adaptability. They're kind of everywhere you want to be. when they're working.
And how often is that?
Not often. Uh, that's that's the asterisk there, right? Because
Yeah,
I know Justin has said many times he'll go to a place that has 6 chargers and one of them are working.
that's not very. That's like going to a gas station that has 12 pumps and 10 don't work.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's sort of insane on that level of it. I know EA says they're working on it and they're getting it up. Conversely, Tesla has a 99% uptime, so 99% of their chargers are working. But they do preventive, and listening to Justin, that's where I got the information on that. I haven't delved in, but he talks to Electrify America all the time. They are reactive, not proactive. So EA will go out there and fix a charger when it breaks,
Yes.
but we'll wait until they get a signal that something's broken to go
They'll
out.
wait for it to break instead
Yeah.
of maintaining it so that it doesn't break.
Yeah. Whereas Tesla is very proactive, so they just don't have the downtime of
Wow.
that. And I know the government has to be looking into that, like I hope they are, at least when they're doling out this money, because I would think that EVgo, ChargePoint, and Electrify America have to be the big players in the government charging too, because they actually know what they're doing. Although Tesla doesn't seem to be part of that, so I question that. So if that's the case, if taxpayer money is going to this directly,
Yes.
and not funneled through ports like it has, I would think these need to be up a lot more. Like, you need an uptime well over 75%, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, what good are they if they don't work?
Yeah, I mean, when
they have no value if
you're
don't
down
work.
below 75%, I think your network is kind of trash.
Gotcha.
So you can have all the stations you want, but what good are they? And again, though, I think a lot of what we talk about in the your situation at the condo, mine in the apartments, they're talking about those kind of chargers. And again, those don't need to be superchargers. Those can be level 2, 2 people on a single station. It's going to take you 8 hours to charge your car, but you're going to be asleep for the 8 hours.
Yeah.
So who cares? Like, those kind of chargers, I think, is where the real need is. And I think ChargePoint and Blink sort of fill that role a little bit more. So I'll be curious to see going forward with the government stuff, if this isn't bifurcated into, residential versus destination kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
I know the ones in downtown Sacramento and in old Sacramento, there's a couple there. They're not fast chargers.
Gotcha.
But they're free.
You know what time it is? It's lunch. I'm getting hungry.
Oh,
Dan.
it is your lunchtime.
Yeah.
And your last day before vacation.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm done working for the day. It just means that I'm hungry, and now I have to eat lunch so that I can work some more later with Zach.
That's right.
You got son. I love him.
Well, he is very hardworking, and all he asks is that everyone around him be equally as hardworking. That's all.
No, God bless him. He doesn't ask that we're all equally as hardworking, because none of us would be.
No.
Because he's crazy in that way, but that's besides the point. Well, I don't know about you, but I almost think we should fire Justin from the show.
Well, we'll definitely not pay him for today's.
Okay.
Appearance.
Yes. Yeah. Did he call in sick?
I don't know.
Did he apply for PTO time?
I think he just forgot what day it was.
Perhaps that can happen.
He's an extremely busy guy too.
He is.
So
he is.
So thank you very much. You have a great vacation, Ray.
Well, thank you, and I won't be back with you until Tuesday the 25th, I think.
I think that is right.
Yes, because we don't get back from our vacation until next Friday. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on Tuesday, we'll have a very special show while you're out. So I expect you to tune in and watch, where we will have Catherine from our staff here.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Who has
Yeah.
owned an EV longer than any of us.
Okay.
And Miss Kimberly Klein. And they will bringing EVs from the female point of view and the drawbacks and desires and issues on EVs from that point of view. So I am very much looking forward to that and hearing that discussion. I have no idea how much information I can give, but I'm anxious to hear it.
Well, assuming that I can get YouTube in in the islands, and when I say islands, we'll be going to Saint Martin in the Caribbean. Assuming that I can get YouTube there, um, I know we have a smart TV at the place, so I'll be more than happy to watch the show.
Yeah,
Maybe not live, but I
that's
promise
okay.
to watch. Yes,
Yeah, we
yes,
understand time zones and sleeping in, and you're on vacation, so you
yes.
have a lovely vacation, right?
Thank you, and
I,
thank you everybody who has wished me a lovely vacation, and thank you, Justice, for allowing me to participate in this today.
yeah, thank you for being here. And this was on purpose, everybody. This was a joke for Ray. Those who asked about my background. This is actually not a green screen. This is an image of a green on my green screen. It's sort of Inception.
Yes.
Have a good week, everybody.